Exactly how do you not do it?
The easiest thing in the world is always the most difficult. For the simple reason that it is easy, it becomes difficult. This is not a puzzle, but a simple logic of the ego. You will have to understand that logic. The logic of the ego is that if you try to do the difficult, only then you are proving it. If you succeed in doing the difficult, then you have attained to the ego. If you can reach to the impossible, then of course you are the greatest man in the history of humanity. People have been trying to reach to the highest peak in the Himalayas for hundreds of years. Hundreds of mountaineers have died. But the effort continued. Almost from every country of the world, young people went on coming because Everest, the highest peak of the Himalayas and the highest peak in the whole world, remained a challenge to human ego. It remained unconquered. There was no gain if you reach to the Everest and look all around. You will simply feel silly. There is nothing to gain. No shopping place, not even somebody to say hello. It is absolutely deserted, eternal ice which has never melted. And the peak is so small that even two persons together cannot stand on it. What can you do there? It took years for Edmund Hillary and Tenzing to reach And how long they stayed there? Not more than 5 minutes. Even 5 minutes would have looked like 5 ages. Because everything freezes there, even time. And after 5 minutes, the descendants back to the earth, where people are waving, waiting, shouting, hilarious, that man has conquered the unconquerable. But what is the gain? You cannot see any gain outwardly, but there is a certain gain. That's what I am calling the logic of the ego. Edmund Hillary becomes history. Now nobody can take his place. Nobody can again be the first man to conquer Everest. Anybody who comes will be second, third, fourth. But that glory of being the first is a great nourishment to the ego. The first man walking on the moon, the first man orbiting around the moon, I have met that Russian Yuri Gagarin, who was the first man to orbit closest to the moon in the whole history of man. Without him, it was impossible to step on the moon. He prepared the ground. He watched plants from close quarters what has to be done to land on the moon. He became world famous. He had come to India on invitation, and even Indian fools, one expects from Indian fools a little more sense, because they are the oldest, ancient, most fools. They should have learnt a little bit. But fools are simply fools. Modern, ancient, Indian, American. They don't belong to any caste, to any nation. They are almost in that way enlightened. I have never seen Indians so mad millions gathered to see Yuri Gagarin in New Delhi. They had never gathered to see a sage, a saint, a Mahatma in the same way. So much curiosity. Yuri Gagarin must have felt 1,000-fold bigger than he was. When I met him, I asked him, what have you gained as far as you are concerned? Personally, I'm not talking about the scientific progress that you have brought, all the material that will help for the first man to land. That's okay. What you have gained personally? He said, I have never thought about it. But your question is right. I have certainly gained something personally. I have become world famous. And I have not done anything. I cannot show you that this is my achievement. But I understand your question, and I can see where you are pointing at. Yes, that is true. I am no more the same Yuri Gagarin I used to be. I was an ordinary, simple man, have never thought of myself to be received by millions. With such tremendous joy that I feel that only now I am living. Before I was dead. I said, this feeling is not of the consciousness that you are, because you are the same consciousness. This sense of a new birth is coming from your ego. Your ego is tremendously gratified, is strengthened. That is your gain. But according to those who know, that is your loss. What is gain to the ego is loss to the soul. What is a blessing to the ego is a curse to the soul. What seems to be of tremendous importance to the ego is just sheer stupidity. to the innermost core of your being. The logic of the ego is, it is never interested in the simple things. Because if you say that I can breathe, that is not going to bring crowds to welcome you. That Tirtha, you are great. Your name will remain immortal. Because you breathe. Nobody is going to say to you. And if anybody says it, you will think he is taunting. He is not appreciating you. Because breathing is so easy. You need not even do it. It goes on by itself. It is not your doing. So how you can be strengthened by it? On the contrary, you are its doing. Without breathing, you will be nowhere. Breathing is far more deeper than your ego, far more essential than your ego, and far more existential than your ego. Ego cannot do anything. Ego is a superficial thing, just a soap bubble floating on the surface of the river. It knows nothing about the depths. Breathing belongs to your deepest part. That's why even when you are fast asleep, it continues. It has no need of your being awake even. I had gone to see once a woman who was for 9 months in a coma, but breathing perfectly. Even 9-month-long coma. Not for a single moment in 9 months she has been awake. And the doctors were saying she can remain in that state at least for 3 years before she dies. And she will not wake. But she is alive. She is breathing so peacefully, perhaps she has never breathed that peacefully ever before this coma happened. So many disturbances are there, but for her now there is no disturbance. She can't hear, she can't see, she can't think. But breathing continues. It is so natural that ego cannot proclaim itself its doer. Hence, it is none of its interest. do you see the problem? The most important, the most essential is not even interesting to the ego. He is not at all concerned about breathing. The people who became concerned about breathing were the people who became aware of a certain truth, that if you go on doing difficult things, ego is never going to leave you. Because each difficult step taken becomes more strengthening to the ego. And more the ego is stronger, farther away you are from yourself. Your ego is the distance between you, the real, and you, the unreal. Bigger the ego, bigger the distance. Lesser the distance, lesser the ego. If there is no distance at all, ego disappears. And in that disappearance appears the one that you are. As far as I am concerned, this is the most significant discovery in the whole history of discoveries. I don't consider the discovery of atomic energy, nuclear weapons, or any other more important than the discovery that if you can become even aware of a simple natural process like breathing, ego disappears. You need not drop it. If you drop it, you cannot drop it. Because who is going to drop it? The dropped is not your ego. The dropper will say within you, look, I have dropped the ego. Now I am a humble man, egoless, spiritual, holy. The dropped is nothing. The dropper is the problem. So you cannot do in fact anything to come to the point of non-doing. It is so simple. The question is relevant, but the answer is very simple. Looking at the question, you will think it is going to be difficult. It is not so. If you try to do something to achieve non-doing, then you are getting into a mess. It is just like a dog trying to catch its tail. And once in a while, every dog tries that yoga exercise. And it is beautiful to watch a dog doing the yoga of catching its own tail. And you can see the embarrassment, the failure, gathering his energy again, taking a better jump, finding solutions, how to approach it, because the moment he jumps, for some unknown reason, the tail jumps also. Faster he tries, faster the tail moves. Now the poor dog cannot see that the tail is joined to him. There is no way for him to catch hold of it. There is no need either. It is already part of him. He is already in possession of it. What he is trying to do, trying to possess something which he possesses already, trying to get something which has never been away from him. Whether he holds it or not, it is always with him. Wherever he goes, it is with him. He cannot even run away from it. There is no point in catching hold of it. Even if he wants to escape from it, it is impossible. Perhaps few dogs who believe in renunciation. And there are all kinds of dogs. Seeing this continuous failure of catching hold, of getting possession of the tail, may have come to a conclusion that this whole business of possessing a tail is illusory. It is Maya. Don't waste your time. Just renounce it and escape as far away as you can, into the caves, into the monasteries, far away in the Himalayas, where not even a trace of this tail is found. Then you will be free. Dispossess it. That's the whole thinking of a man who is renouncing wealth, renouncing wife, husband, children, and escaping. But he is not aware. You can see the dog's tail is attached to him. And wherever the dog will go, the tail will go. If you look a little deeper, you can see if the husband is renouncing the wife, children, possessions, is he doing anything different? In the first place, why he got married? There must be something in him which needed a wife. The wife is not there outside. The wife is some inner need in him. There must be some inner need in him which wanted all these possessions. Otherwise, why he collected them in the first place? There must be some intrinsic necessity that he wanted children. Otherwise, who was forcing him? In fact, the whole world is trying. All the governments are trying. Use birth control methods. Nobody is listening. Not that these people don't understand what you are saying. Not that they can't see the crowds growing in such proportions that soon this earth is going to die, not out of a nuclear war, but out of sheer starvation. But there must be something so essential a need that a person wants children. And these are your inner psychic needs. The tail of a dog can be operated. It is not such a big problem. But your needs, no surgery can help. They are more deeply rooted in you than the tail of the dog. It is just an outer thing which can be removed at no special loss to the dog. But your needs, from which you are escaping, will be with you wherever you go. I have been moving through all kinds of renunciates. I was in Rishikesh in the Himalayas, and I was sitting under a tree, a very beautiful tree. It was a hot sun afternoon, and the tree was so cool, the shadow of it. that although I had to go, I lingered a little longer there. Once old Hindu monk came and said, "What are you doing here under my tree?" I said, "Your tree? You have renounced the whole world. And this tree is yours? I don't see your signboard, or how can you prove this tree is yours?" He said, "There is no need of proving. Everybody knows around here. For 30 years I have been sitting underneath." I think you may have been sitting 30 years. The tree has been even before that. Now I am sitting under it, and tree will remain. Tree has no concern with you or me. Tree has no idea who is its owner. You just get lost. He said, "What are you saying? You have been just here for a few hours and you become the possessor. And I have been here for 30 years. I said, "I'm not going to possess the tree. I will be moving soon. But not in this way. You will have to apologize to the tree. You have not purchased it. You have not planted it. You have not watered it. On what grounds you have become its possessor? Just because you have been here for 30 years, bothering the tree day and night. You owe something to the tree. The tree owes nothing to you. The tree has been kind to you and you have become possessor of it. And this is what you had left behind. Nothing is left behind. You are ready even right now here to fight with me. 30 years before, you would have been fighting for a house, for a small piece of land. This is my wife, this is my house, this is my religion, this is my country. Now all that has become concentrated on this poor tree. Your whole possessiveness has become concentrated on this poor tree. It does not matter whether you possess a whole kingdom or just a small tree. Possessiveness has nothing to do with quantity. It is an attitude. I told him that you are an old renunciate. You must have heard the famous story of an ancient king. A great sage told one of his disciples to go to the court of the king and be there for a few days as his last lesson before the sage can declare him graduated. He has to go to the king's court and be there for a few days. If this was what the master wanted, the young man went. He thought perhaps the king is a great sage, must be greater than our master. If he sends everybody as the last lesson and the last test, it's strange that a sage who has renounced everything should send his disciples to a man who has not renounced anything. Is just an ordinary power-hungry continuously trying to conquer other countries, an imperialist, so much attached to things that he does not bother even to kill thousands of people. And I am being sent to him. There must be some secret in it. He went there. It was evening time. He was brought immediately before the king. It was time for the king to drink, and the women, beautiful women, had come to dance. His court was now going to celebrate the evening. Seeing all this, the young renunciate was terribly shocked. And he said to the king, I had come to stay for a few days, but I cannot stay here for a few minutes even. I cannot think why my master has sent me to this hell. The king said, if your master has sent you, there must be some reason. And don't be so judgmental so quickly. What you are going to lose in 2-3 days' time. And remember, this is your last test. Without my approval, you can remain there in your master's house your whole life. You will never be declared graduated. So better come to your senses, remain here for 3 days. You have not been sent here to judge me. You have been sent here to be judged by me. Now this was too much. This man is going to judge him, who has renounced everything. But what to do? He was in a fix. If he goes back, the master will be unhappy. And if this is going to be the case that finally he will have to come here, then it is better to pass these 3 days somehow and get the clearance of this arrogant man. The king said, you are cooling down and coming to your senses. First take a good bath. I have prepared for you because the message has come to me. But don't be worried. In youth, everybody is too quick to judge. It takes a little experience not to judge, and not to judge superficially at least. You have not seen anything. Be here 3 days. Watch, see. And your whole life is there. You can judge. No problem. But first get my clearance. So first think of my judgment. And move accordingly so that you can get a favorable judgment from me. Otherwise you will have to come here again and again and again your whole life. So you go and take a bath, and I have arranged everything. He had never been in a bath of a king. He had never seen such a beautiful place. Naked women were there to massage him. He said, my God, the test is finished. In 3 days this man is going to kill me. And before he could say anything, in fact, he was all going into a nervous breakdown. He had escaped from women, and here he finds naked women, and he had never seen such beautiful women before. And they are going to massage him. But before he could say anything, in fact, he found his voice was lost. He could not speak. He said, nothing much. And those women started undressing him. Before he could do anything, he was standing naked. And those 4 women took possession of him completely, put him into the bathtub. It was full of rose water. In India, kings and very rich people take bath in the rose water. In the night, hundreds of roses will be put in the bathtub, so their fragrance is caught by the water. Then in the morning the petals are removed, so you don't see any roses, but you are surrounded by a cloud of rose fragrance. He had never in his whole life seen something so luxurious. The bathtub was made of gold, and precious oils were poured on his body, and he was massaged, and he was dying to escape somehow from there. But he was feeling himself completely paralyzed too. And then the king invited him to a feast, things that he has never tasted before. He has always been reading, discipline yourself to tastelessness. And here were such tasteful, delicious food. Just the aroma, the flavor was enough to make you feel hungry. And the king said, "Sit down and eat. And remember your discipline of tastelessness." What was the point in your master's house where food was tasteless itself? And if you could remember tastelessness, do you think that is some discipline? It was tasteless. Any idiot would have felt tastelessness. Now feel tastelessness. The young man saw the difficulty, but saw the point also. And by the way, the king said, "How was the bath? Were the women nice to you?" Because they are the best. Out of all of my massages, I think you must be feeling satisfied. He said, "Satisfied? I'm feeling just somehow to pass 3 days, if I can survive. I don't hope very much. This is the first evening. 3 days look like 3 lives to me. And now this food, I will not forget it my whole life. And I have to be a renunciate. Those beautiful women, I will not forget them. What kind of taste is this?" You are giving me all experiences against which I have been prepared for all these years. And then came the wine, and the king offered him himself. And he said, "This is too much, because wine is prohibited in my master's house." The king said, "This is not your master's house. This is your examiner's palace. If you want clearance, be alert and do what I say. Your master has told you not to be unconscious. Don't be unconscious. Drink and remain conscious. What is the point of remaining conscious without drinking? Anybody can do that. Anybody is doing that. You drink and drink to your heart's content, because never again you will get the chance. And I tell you, consciousness has nothing to do with it. I will be drinking with you. In fact, I have been drinking the whole evening. Can you say I am unconscious? So drink. He had to drink. And then the king took him. He was falling all apart, not knowing what is happening. The intoxication, the women, the food, the beautiful clothes that were given to him now after the bath. And then the king took him to his guest house where he was to stay. He could not believe. He thought he must have come into heaven. Alcohol gives many people the idea of heaven. Perhaps that's why all the religions are against alcohol. Because if alcohol can satisfy our desire for heaven, who would bother going to the churches and the temples and to the ashramas and doing all kinds of strange things, when it is possible through a simple process of drinking alcohol? He thought he must be in heaven. He forgot completely that he has come to be examined. The king showed him his bed. The moment he lied down on the bed, he saw a sword hanging just above him, naked, with a thin thread. All intoxication disappeared. Suddenly he found that he is not in heaven. That sword, death can bring anybody to the earth from anywhere. He asked the king why this sword is hanging here. He said, this is hanging here to keep you conscious. Now go to sleep. This is your room. And if by God's grace both of us survive tomorrow morning, we will meet again. He said, nothing is going to happen to you. You will survive. The question is for me, even with God's help, I don't think this thin thread can keep this heavy sword naked hanging on me. It is going to fall any moment. Just a little breeze. is enough and I am finished. The king said, don't be worried. If you are finished, your master must have been telling you about reincarnation. You will be reincarnated, rebirth. And whatever you have learned will go with you. So don't miss these last moments. Perhaps it may fall. I cannot guarantee. It is up to you. What you make of these moments, remain conscious. And if you die in consciousness, nothing can be better than that. But the young man said, I don't want to die. I have come here just to get the clearance. And you are just clearing me away from life itself. The king said, this is the way one gets the clearance. You go to sleep. Whatever is going to happen, is going to happen. That's your master's teaching. That's what Hindus say. Even a leaf does not move without God's will. So how can the sword kill you without God's will? And with His will, sword or no sword, you will be killed. So just go to sleep the way I go to sleep. On you there is only one naked sword hanging. On me there are thousands of naked swords hanging. And soon you will hear my snore from the other room. He could not sleep the whole night. In the morning, the whole night he heard the king snoring. In the morning, the king came into his room. He was fully awake, lying, just seeing the sword. There was nothing else in the whole world except the sword. The king said, I am going to take a bath. Just behind his palace was the Hindu sacred river Ganges. Come along with me for the morning walk, a little swim in the river. They went there. The man had nothing except a small langoti. Langoti is just a small piece of cloth. A very mini underwear. And without any stitches or any sewing done on it. You have just to put a round thread around your waist and stuck one end of the piece in front, the other end of the piece at the back, and the mini underwear is ready. No tailoring is needed. You can make it anytime, anywhere. And that's what the Hindu monk is supposed to wear. Because stitching is a complicated affair. You will have to take somebody's help. You may need money. And all these things have to be avoided. The Hindu monk tries to avoid as much as possible the barest necessities. A begging bowl which is not made of metal. It is made of coconut cut in two pieces. The hard shell of the coconut becomes the begging bowl. You can attach a small string in it to hold by your hand. The same way you make your mini underwear, you make your begging bowl. And a staff. One wonders why a staff. It is because of the Indian dogs. There are so many, and particularly against all kinds of uniformed people. Although there is not much of a uniform, but still it is a uniform because all the Hindu monks are the same, holding their begging bowl, that mini underwear, and a staff, and all naked. Dogs feel suspicious of uniforms. Something somewhere is going wrong. And perhaps they are right. Because army uses uniform, police uses uniform, postmen use uniform, and the monks use uniform. It seems all wrong kinds of people are in uniform. So the staff is absolutely necessary to keep the dogs away. So these were the three things that he had brought with him. In the morning, he went in these three things again. He felt embarrassed in all those valuable clothes, robes that the king has offered. He said, in the palace I can use them, but not outside. If somebody sees me in these robes, it will be very embarrassing for me, for you. So let me have my uniform. The king said, that is up to you. King went into his royal clothes and the monk in his uniform. They both put their clothes on the bank of the Ganges and enter into the Ganges. While they are taking the bath, the monk shouts to the king, Your palace is on fire. The king said, I have seen it before you, but there is nothing to be worried. Now what can be done? It is on fire. And nothing happens without God's will. You don't be worried. You just take your bath. He said, what are you saying? At least I have to save my uniform that is just lying by the side of the palace. And he ran out to save his uniform. The palace is burning. The king's clothes are there. But he is worried about his uniform. The king took his bath. The palace was finished completely. It was on his order. And the monk was continuously shaking and trembling, and he was saying, it is such a great loss. How many millions of rupees? But the king said, don't be worried. That has nothing to do with you. Your things are safe. He said, all my things are perfectly safe. King said, that's enough for you. You should be worried about your things. These are your possessions. This is your kingdom. I don't care if the whole kingdom burns down. It doesn't matter. Because I was not here and the world has been here and the kingdom has been here. One day I will not be here and the world will continue. I am here just a visitor, a watcher. Why should I get too much involved? But you have to remember that you have not been able to renounce anything. You have not yet become a watcher. You could not even watch my house on fire. If your uniform was on fire, which is not much of a uniform, I think you would have gone mad. You are already in a state of madness because so much loss. But what it has to do with you? And you were shocked seeing me drinking, but you don't know that even while drinking I am a watcher. You were shocked seeing me surrounded by beautiful women, even looking at their dance. I am only a watcher. But you are not a watcher at all. Now make up within 2 days. The time is short, very short. Make up. Be a watcher. Because before I give you the clearance that yes, you can be graduated, you will have to prove that you have become a watcher. He said, how I have to prove? He said, just today you go on trying. on everything. Everything is managed in such a way that it will help you to watch. Just watch. Don't try to escape, don't try to repress, don't try to fight, don't try to avoid. Just watch and let things happen. And the last day, the last test was that there is going to be a beautiful dance. And this young man was given a cup full of oil, so full that if you just move a little, the oil will fall down. The dancers were in a round, all naked women dancing. The king was sitting in the middle, and the man, the poor young man, holding that precious bowl full of oil, and he was told that even if a single drop of the oil falls, you have failed. Now there was so much great temptation to see by the side what is happening. So many beautiful women dancing. But that bowl, just a single drop, just a single moment of unwatchfulness, he passed, went around, and as he was going around, slowly, watchfulness settled in him. He forgot all about the dance, only the bowl, the oil, and watchfulness. Watchfulness is a simple thing, but it has no ego fulfillment. Meditation is a thinking same. These are different names: watchfulness, witnessing, meditation, awareness, alertness. Different names for a single phenomenon. And all these happen when you are in a state of not doing. And that is the question. How to do that non-doing? If you ask how, you have missed the point. Because how means doing. You are asking me, tell us to do something so that we can attain non-doing. If you go to any religious priest, he will tell you what to do. And just by telling you what to do, he proves that he knows nothing. I cannot tell you what to do. I can only explain to you that doing is not going to help. You will have to understand that no doing is going to help. in that very understanding, non-doing happens. Non-doing is a happening. It is nothing on your part that you can claim, I have done it, I have achieved it. You can only say, when I was not there, it happened. Because I have always been there, it was not happening. Don't ask what has to be done. Leo Tolstoy, one of Russia's wisest men of this century, has written a book, What to Do. And this was one of the books that changed Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi into Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi declared 3 persons his masters. First was Leo Tolstoy. Second was Henry Thoreau. And third was Emerson. All 3 were fanatic Christians. And a very strange thing, that Gandhi was influenced by these 3 fanatic Christians. And Gandhi has done something immeasurably harmful to India. He sabotaged the Eastern religious understanding by mixing it with fanatic Christian ideas. Unconsciously, he was influenced by these people, and he started interpreting Eastern religions according to these ideas. There were many times in his life when he thought to become a Christian. It would have been far better if he had become a Christian. At least he would not have been able to contaminate the Eastern thought with things which are far lower. But his politics prevented, because if he had become a Christian, he would lose the Hindu following. To keep the Hindu following, he remained a Hindu, but his mind was already Christian. He had no understanding of Eastern thought. He was educated in England, and then he was working in South Africa, again under a British government. And his contact was only with Christian missionaries. One of the very famous Christian missionaries of those days, C.F. Andrews, was his greatest friend. But he could not become Christian because once he was a Christian, all Hindus would have dropped him completely. Immediately, his son Haridas Gandhi, just in rebellion to his father, because that father was really too much of a father, really a dangerous father. He wanted to mold you completely according to his ideas. I have a soft corner for Haridas Gandhi, his son. Because Haridas wanted to go to school, Mahatma Gandhi would not allow him, because he thought this whole educational system is corrupted. It is true. It is corrupted, but what is the alternative? To remain uneducated? Before you create a better education system, there is no other go. It is a necessary evil. So be cautious, be careful, but to prevent children from going to school, you will be surprised, Gandhi's all children remain uneducated except Haridas, because he escaped from the home. You will have thousands of cases where children have escaped from home because their fathers wanted them to be educated. But this is a single case where a son escaped from the home because he wanted to be educated, and father was absolutely against any kind of education. He was so angry, talking so much of non-violence and love and compassion, but he had nothing of it. He was so angry, and what crime the son has committed? Because he became matriculate. And Haridas was thinking that once he is matriculate, he will be angry and shout and may even beat him. But how long this can go on? Things will change. But Gandhi was not an easy father. He declared that Haridas cannot enter into his house. He disowned Haridas as a son. Haridas had guts. He said, okay, I am going to become a Mohammedan because my father goes on saying that Hindus and Mohammedans are all brothers, and the Quran and the Gita and the Bible, they all give the same message, that it is one God called by so many names. So let us see. He became Mohammedan, and Gandhi was so angry. That he told his wife that I don't want to see the face of this boy again. When Haridas heard it, he said, but Hindus, Mohammedans, Christians are all brothers, and all these books have the same message. And what has happened? From Haridas he changed his name to Abdullah. His new name was Haji Abdullah Gandhi. Haji is equivalent to Mahatma. He went to Mecca to do Hajj. Hajj is a pilgrimage. You go for Mecca. The place where Mohammedanism was founded, and Muhammad created the first mosque. It is absolutely necessary for every Mohammedan to go to Hajj. Hajj means holy pilgrimage. If you don't go, you are not a real, authentic Mohammedan. And one who goes, he is called Hajj. He has become a saint just by going to Mecca and moving 7 times around the stone. You become a sage. Abdullah simply is a translation of Haridas in Arabic. Haridas means servant of God. Exactly that is the meaning of Abd Allah. Allah means God, Abd means servant. Abd Allah, Abdullah. And Haridas, he asked that keep it exactly the same. Haji means Mahatma, Abdullah means Haridas, and Gandhi he kept, because Gandhi is not anything to do with Hinduism. In India, there is a strange convention. Your profession by and by becomes your surname. Gandhi simply means one who sells perfume. Somebody in his forefathers may have been a perfume seller. Gandh means perfume. So Gandhi means one who sells perfume. It has nothing to do with Hinduism. There are Parsi Gandhis. That's why Indira was also Gandhi. She had no relationship with Mahatma Gandhi. She was married to a Parsi, Firoz Gandhi. She was not married even to a Hindu. Firoz's parents must have been selling perfume. Perfume has nothing to do with any religion. Anybody can sell perfume. But when you sell perfume in India, slowly you will become a Gandhi. And that's how Indian surnames are. Your business, your profession, slowly gets you fixed. So he kept Gandhi because that is not anything to do with Hinduism. Only once on a railway station in Katni, Mahatma Gandhi and Abdullah Gandhi crossed their paths. Gandhi was moving in the train and Abdullah was going to catch the train from Katni. Hundreds of people had come to see Gandhi and hundreds of people, Mohammedans, had come to give a send-off to Haji Abdullah Gandhi because they had made him a saint. Just in opposition to Gandhi, that his own son does not believe in Hinduism and thinks higher of Mohammedanism as a true religion, was a great boost to their ego. So they were shouting slogans in praise of Haji Abdullah Gandhi. Long live Haji Abdullah Gandhi. When their procession passed by the side of Gandhi's compartment, he was standing facing the crowd. He turned his back. He will not see his son's face. This man is talking about compassion, kindness, love, non-violence, and not only that, his wife, mother after all, is a mother. She wanted at least to have 2 words with Haridas, but Gandhi stopped her. He said, choose. If you say a single word to Haridas, you also go with him. This is the way of the ego. Kasturba, his wife, remained silent, crying tears, but could not say a single word. Abdullah stopped there, seeing his father's back. Everything was said, and looking at mother's face with tears, he thought it better not to say anything, not to create any trouble for the old woman. He passed. The day Gandhi was assassinated, Haridas was the right person to give fire to Gandhi's body. But he was abandoned, and he was no more a Hindu. He followed the whole procession. He was present there when Gandhi's body was burnt. But nobody even took recognition of him. Not even his brothers. One of Gandhi's sons, Ramdas, was very friendly to me. I asked Ramdas that, now your father is dead. What is creating a wall between you and Haridas? If it is only a question of ego that who should approach whom, then I can manage, because I know Haridas. And as far as I understand, he is a man of tremendous courage, fighting with a steel-hearted father, a hypocrite who was not a Mahatma, who could not be a Mahatma. And he had simply given a challenge that if you say that every religion is the same, then why so much fuss about his becoming a Christian? And you have been continuously thinking to become a Christian. If your son has become a Mohammedan, what is wrong in it? Ramdas said, I can understand. But his whole life he was telling us, never treat Haridas as your brother. And now that he is dead, I feel guilty to go against his will. You are right. I said, I can bring Haridas, because he has never been against anybody, neither against Mahatma Gandhi, nor against you, nor the mother, nor other brothers. He was just showing a simple fact to Gandhi that what you teach is not your reality. What you say is not what you live. But this is the way of the ego. It says one thing, lives just the opposite. It can even pretend to be its own opposite. It can pretend to be humble. And that's where the question leads. If you ask me what to do to attain non-doing, nothing has to be done to attain non-doing. Non-doing is not an attainment. It is simply your nature. When you are not doing anything, it is there. If somebody is running in this room and he asks what to do, so that I can stop running, so that I can also sit just like you. Now what you are going to say to this man? Running is an act. Sitting is not an act. You are not to do something to sit. You have simply stop running. Don't run. Or if you find it impossible to stop, then the other way, the only other way is run as long as you can. Sooner or later, you will fall down. How long you can run? So there are only two types of non-doers in the world. One, who by sheer understanding relax and find the state of non-doing, of peace, of silence. And the other type, those who will go thousands of miles, torture them in every possible way, do yoga exercises, stand on their head and fast, starve, renounce, repress, pray, go into the monasteries, and do all kinds of stupid things. And finally, simply by being tired, exhausted, they sit down. And suddenly it is there. Perhaps they may think it has come because of all their doing. That is not the case. It has come in spite of all their doing. Otherwise, they are such a practiced doer that it was possible they may have continued still. Because the more you run, the better your running becomes. There is no end to it. You go on becoming more and more skillful, more and more articulate, more and more crafty. You go on finding new ways. You get fed up with one thing, then you move to another. You get fed up, you move to another, and there are millions of things available in the world for you to do. But for non-doing, nothing is available. No method. You have simply to understand the nature of non-doing. Don't ask an absurd question. Just try to understand that by doing, your ego will be fulfilled. Whatever you do prayer, you do fasting, you go to the church, you become a monk, whatever you do, doing is food for the ego, and ego is the barrier between you and existence, between you and your reality. Don't do anything. Why can't you just live without doing all this nonsense? Eat when you feel hungry. Drink when you feel thirsty. Go to sleep when you feel sleepy. And get up when you feel awake. And just forget everything else. Just do small things that are needed. And live a simple, ordinary life. And you will find it. Jesus says, seek and ye shall find. I say to you, seek and ye shall never find. Jesus says, ask and it shall be given to you. I say to you, ask and it shall never be given to you. Jesus says, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. I say, knock and the door shall never be opened unto you. In fact, there is no need to knock. The doors are open. Just get in.